Ahoy there, Libra. I hope you're doing well. Let's get into your reading for June 2019. I'm going to shuffle your cards a little more. And we'll get into June 2019 energy. Show me for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. June 2019 energy. What information may need to come through for Libra? Show me the energy present for Libra. June 2019, please. We're doing a Celtic cross. All right, first card out of the deck, you have the Hangman in reverse. That's good energy. The Hangman in reverse talks about being of a newfound mindset, of a newfound way of thinking, being, feeling revitalized. The Hangman upright is essentially when we take time for ourselves, where we sit, ponder, consider, reconsider, evaluate. A lot of the time it's going to be internal things, what makes us feel good in life. Sometimes where we need to take a pause, what we need to look at deeper in our lives to make us happy, to make ourselves feel whole. Sometimes it can be not talking to somebody, kind of just taking a pause. Here, we've come out of this energy now. It's moving time. We're now going to implement what we've extracted from that period of time where we've taken some for ourselves. So that's great. Nothing wrong with that. That's the current energy. The obstacle is the Emperor in reverse. Now, that is a total obstacle. The Emperor in reverse, Aries energy. Pisces energy with the Hangman. Emperor, Aries energy. But the Emperor in reverse is somebody who, this is very harsh, okay? The Emperor in reverse is someone who is very difficult to deal with. Their way or the highway. They're very angry. They can be manipulative in a multitude of ways. They have little regard for anybody, and they do what they want to do when they want to do it because they said so. And don't fuck with them. You know, there's a no-win situation with this type of person. You can't really, male or female, the Emperor in reverse is somebody who is very fiery, upset, very frustrating. They can be very disruptive in your life, in their own lives. They're not somebody easy to deal with, essentially. The root of the reading, at the root of the reading, you have the Queen of Wands in reverse. So Libra, this is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have Aries popping up here twice, but more than anything, we have a very angry fire energy. The Queen of Wands is somebody who she starts shit. She's a smack talker. She goes for the jugular. She's not easy to deal with. She is a lot of the time easily angered. She is somebody that can just sit with a fair amount of anger constantly and just maintain it. Yeah, I mean, it's somebody who's out of touch with themselves, out of touch with their feelings, their emotions. They just kind of like verbal barbs all the time. There's fighting, bickering. They go for the jugular. Like they're uneasy to be around. Recent past. I'm sorry, I keep clearing my throat. We have so many cottonwood trees around here, and allergies are bonkers right now. In the recent past, you have the Nine of Cups. So this may have been a situation that you felt was something that you wanted, or at one point you felt comfortable in it. It may have been something that brought you some sort of emotional satisfaction, but that was the past, you know? Also in the past too, dealing with this person, you may have turned to food, you may have turned to alcohol, you may have turned to different ways of self-soothing. Doesn't have to be food or drink, you know? For me, I buy perfume. It's my self-care, but it's also my like extravagant, toxic stupidity, because I'll buy a $300 bottle of perfume. Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, my boyfriend looks at me and I'm like, you know, but it happens. And that's for me to deal with my stress. But it feels like the stress here may have been dealt with by overindulgence in a certain way, whatever that may be to you. Present energy, where you're at now, you have the Magician in reverse. Aries energy, like a motherfucker in this reading, okay? So if you're dealing with an Aries, holy smokes, this person is not easy to deal with. The Magician in reverse is somebody who is, well, they're a liar. They are, they will see opportunities and seize them to take advantage of you, to manipulate you in your life when you may have trusted them in certain regards, and now they're using that information against you, or they watch to see. It's almost like that Seven of Swords, or the Page of Swords in reverse energy, that spying energy, where it's like somebody's watching and collecting data and information so they can eventually use it to their benefit against you. It's that kind of energy. It's also not creating, it's sitting in our stagnancy. And if somebody is angry and emotionally disruptive, there's an indication here that this person needs to sit in that anger and frustration and really heal themselves, this type of energy calls for therapy. It calls for, taking time out, but like on their own terms. It's not going to be you making them do it. Like this person, nobody makes them do anything. This type of person is somebody who, no. This type of person, you don't tell what to do. They do what they do. Okay? This type of energy, oh, no. You have no say. Coming into the future, you have the Four of Cups in reverse. Interesting energy. The Four of Cups in reverse can talk about accepting an offer. It can talk about accepting or going through something with somebody. Upright, it often talks about not accepting things, not making an offer, not sometimes feeling incredibly bored, listless, not wanting to do anything about a situation. I'm wondering, because in the juxtaposition across the board here, we have the Nine of Cups with the Four of Cups in reverse. Now, these two cards, it's interesting because we have this Emperor in reverse energy as the obstacle, with the Hangman as the main energy. So the Hangman is an energy where we've done a lot of contemplation about the behavior, the actions, the mindset of this person, how it leaves us emotionally. That is a Pisces card, the Hangman. You're going to have to deal with emotions in regard to how the connection is with this person. Two cards of emotion. Now, you have the Nine of Cups here and the Four of Cups in reverse. So I'm kind of wondering, because this is past energy, this is the energy that we're coming into. Are you coming into this energy and reconsidering something with this person because you felt that connection in the past? Is that what's going on? Because this kind of is slightly reminiscent of the Eight of Cups in reverse or the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Like, it's a card where we kind of come back to something, almost that Six of Swords in reverse energy too. We kind of come back to something, we reconsider something, maybe we will take this offer. Maybe that's what we have been thinking about the entire time, Now, I want to mention here in regard to this, first of all, let's see if this person has changed. And only you will truly know if they've changed. This is, remember, a general reading, so these readings are not going to resonate for every single person. But if this is feeling like the energy that you're dealing with, this, I would consider listening more, because it may be a reading that you might resonate with further. So the present energy, where you are internally, the mental, the emotional, where you are, we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. So this is, all of the fire energy here is upside down. It's reversed. It's frustrated. The Knight of Wands is, not the best energy to deal with. The Knight of Wands is somebody who, yeah, sure, he's called the player of the tarot. He's in and out of people's pants, like, yeah. The Knight of Wands also is somebody who can be a bit directionless. Now, this could go two ways. This might be your energy, or it might be the other person's energy. If it's the other person's energy, you're dealing with somebody who is not really in it for the long run. Less commitment, less emotion, someone that is more so interested in serving their base needs, their immediate desires. They really don't have longevity in their mind. They just kind of do as they do. And if it's your energy, it may be something that you feel like you could be passionate about again, but then the longevity isn't there. It's like, oh, okay, I thought this was going to work. This isn't what I was thinking it was going to be. So before we get any further, because we are going to clarify everything, let's go ahead and get into what's coming for you, what's coming toward you. So what's coming toward you, you have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So the Four of Pentacles in reverse is talking about letting go. It's talking about breaking things down. Upright, this card definitely talks about holding on to things, not allowing things in, not allowing things out, being stagnant, worried that we're not going to get any more, so we hold on to everything that we have. This person may have been terrible to me, but they're the only person that I'll ever get or I've ever loved. And so, the good outweighs the bad, even though the bad really outweighs the good. It's like we kind of romanticize things about things. In reverse, though, it talks about allowing things in. It talks about a dissolve. It's interesting here too, because in this card in particular, you have the Grim Reaper here, which is the sign of Scorpio. This is also the Death card commingled with this Four of Pentacles. It's almost as if there is a forced, like if you take the aspect of the Death card, there's a forced release here. A forced release. Something happens, and this is coming toward you. Now, why is this energy forced? Why is this, and what are we letting go of that's coming toward you? Is this, something that we hoped for, we got really excited for, and then we get into it, and it's like, oh, not the right situation for me. I had high hopes, but maybe I do have to let it go. Let's see. We're going to clarify, everybody, but that's kind of what I'm feeling. Hopes, worries, concerns. You have... That feels like a concern. It's like the Fool here. It's interesting. The Fool is... the Fool in the Death card, kind of in reference to that Four of Pentacles with the Grim Reaper in there. That's the Death energy in there. Scorpionic energy. The Fool... When the Death card appears, things have to be let go of. They have to kind of die, drown out, be changed and transformed. It's a card of transformation. It's not really a card of like death and, somebody died, let's put on black. It's more about change, transformation, recognizing where we have to move things and sometimes just completely break them down. It's almost like tower moments, but that sprinkling the lie and onto the body so they can decompose, like creation of that decomposition, like pushing it forward so you can have new. Maybe that's not a good example or a analogy, but yeah, like when you raise the ground, like farmers will burn the ground and those burnt plants will deposit minerals and different things into the ground, and it'll actually give you a fertile crop for your next couple crops. It's that kind of thing where the Death card will, raise the ground, and so you can have a new beginning. Now, it's interesting with this card, though, because it's almost as if this comes out as a concern here, Libra. For this potential new beginning, he's not on any sure ground. He's hanging by a thread. He's sniffing a rose. Roses speak of love. Roses speak of purity. Roses speak of that type of heart connection in certain ways, romance. He's smelling the rose. It's almost as if we're enveloped in that dreamy, airy feeling of the love potential. I get intoxicated by this smell. It's almost like being intoxicated by the potential of love again with this person. But the reality is we're hanging off a cliff, okay? We're hanging off a cliff by one hand, smelling our rose, dangling in the air. What's happening is our provisions in our little sack, all of our reality, all of our stability, it's falling, okay? Hopes, worries, concerns, almost fears. And outcome card, you have the Tower. So yeah, a breakdown, whether this goes, I feel that somebody here may be wanting to restart something, but then actually once it starts in again, you're going to be dealing with the same type of personality. I don't feel that this person has really changed much. We'll definitely clarify, but it feels like somebody feels hopeful, and then it's like, oh God, this again. You really don't care. You really don't change. Like, it's just, yeah, be careful about that. Because the Magician also, kind of like the Knight of Cups in reverse sometimes, they will show you a facade, okay? This doesn't just have to mean that they're, this is emotional manipulation. This can be emotional manipulation, like manipulation on all fronts, but more so on an emotional level in a lot of ways, just because of the way that it's done. It hits you hard, okay? The Magician in reverse is somebody that can tell you, I've changed, and they can even kind of prove it for a little bit, and then it all just kind of falls apart. It's like a house of cards, and a nice gust of wind comes by and knocks it all over, because you cannot build on a faulty foundation, Libra. So you have Scorpio energy again. And at the bottom of the deck, you have the Ten of Pentacles. So this may have been a situation with somebody who you may have had a longer standing relationship with. This may have been somebody that you could have felt a fair amount of stability with at one point. This may be something where you may have had a fair amount of money with this person. Don't put up with somebody's bullshit just because they have a lot of money. And also the Emperor also is somebody that's money. That's also money in regard to also the King of Pentacles as well, which is coming through for me a bit. It's somebody who has money. It's somebody who's amassed a fair amount of finances. They could be working in finances, CEOs, accountants, business people. But the way that they go about it is shitty. The way that they go about dealing with you and others is mistreatment, okay? So let's go ahead and clarify this deck, or this spread, and we will get into that. Show me energies present for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, June 2019. June 2019, please. June 2019. We're going to do a Celtic cross. So I'm just going to basically do the same thing, a Celtic cross, but each of these I'm going to pull out and put where the placements are, okay? That's how I'm feeling like I need to do it, so I'm going to do it that way. 8. Again, so when I was shuffling, it said 8, and now again it's 8. So 1, 2, 3, 8. Okay. Is that right? Is that right? Oh, I hate it. There's like a feeling that happens, like I heard 8, and then when I went to do it, it felt like that feeling wasn't right. Hang on. This is so weird. I don't like this because now it's taking time and I just need to feel this correctly. Jesus. Is this right? Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So the Hangman in reverse, you have the High Priestess in reverse. Now it's interesting here. With the Hangman in reverse and the High Priestess in reverse, 2 major arcana cards, definitely huge introspection, but maybe, huge introspection may be being needed, okay? Sometimes, I do want to mention, sometimes the Hangman in reverse can talk about not doing what we need to do, not taking time for ourselves to really evaluate a situation to its depths and entirety, if it truly does make us happy. The High Priestess in reverse is essentially an energy where we are out of balance with ourselves, out of touch with ourselves. It's also where we don't really connect with the truth of what's going on around us. It's like we can sometimes keep ourselves blinded and not really pay attention to what's at hand in front of us. So be careful about that, okay? The Emperor in reverse. Well, you have the Empress here. So very interesting energy. Emperor in reverse, Emperor in reverse, Empress upright. For these two cards, it's interesting. You have the male aspect, and it doesn't just have to be male, but you have the male aspect here, completely out of sorts, very angry, very frustrated. And then you have this female energy that is receptive, warm, abundant. Okay, so first thing that I want to say here is that be careful if somebody is just telling you certain things. Be careful if somebody has treated you one way and then they're coming at you with this like new beginning type of energy with abundance and nurturance and like, oh no, I really do love you. I really have changed. Be careful about that. I'm going to use this as a bottom card. The bottom of the deck is going to be in reference to each card that I picked, just because this is the grounding energy now. So it's interesting because now we have the potential for a new beginning. We have something that's new, it's blossoming, it's the potential for that. But be careful if it's like, if you feel like a wolf's in sheep's clothing type thing, be careful. Now, on the other hand, this can also be somebody who, this could be you, this could be also somebody who is very, how do I say, they are abundant, they are caring, they're nurturing. It's somebody who feels solid in their life and they don't necessarily need anybody. So in regard to this situation, some of you may start to recognize that you may not need this person, especially if they're showing up like this, okay? You may be a counterpart to them. And also the Emperor and the Empress also are very indicative of this type of energy too. It's very abundant energy. It's family, tradition. It's long-standing, longer standing. And if it isn't years and years and years, it's likely that you had some finances built up with this person or children. But one person is upright, one person is in reverse, and the worst of them is in reverse. And so you may be feeling like you don't need to deal with that anymore. You may be feeling like, okay, I've had enough and I'm actually okay being solid in my life and c'est la vie. And I feel that the eventual outcome is that, but it may need to get there, you know, because that might also, this is clarifying an obstacle. What is the obstacle of this? The Emperor in reverse. What is the clarifier of that? The Empress. Like, okay, are we hoping that this person gets to, you know, a level of stability, a level of abundance, a level of nurturing, you know, or is this where we have to step into our own power? And that can also be kind of a difficulty when we've been enmeshed with somebody for so long and we've dealt with so many toxic energies, when you have to finally step into your power, this Empress here, and be very solid in your decision making, how you believe about yourself, what you bring into your life, what you take care, how you take care of your children, how you take care of the people in your life. It may be time to step up and step into this versus being subservient, you know, because some of you may have been, if you're dealing with this type of person, some of you may have been feeling like the Empress in reverse. The Empress in reverse is somebody who kind of lets herself go, lets themselves go. You know, it can border on being slovenly to just not caring about yourself. Like, I don't care, whatever, like life is bullshit, whatever. It's harder energy to deal with, and it may be calling you to step into your power. So for the Queen of Wands in reverse, interesting energy again, we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So for this Queen of Wands, whomever this is, this could be you, it could be a fire sign that you're dealing with, it doesn't have to be a fire sign, but whomever they are, they're very judgmental, they're very brash, they're very abrasive, they are easily angered, very fiery, kind of out for blood. And with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, this indicates somebody who doesn't really want to change. They don't really want to change. It's hard for them to change because they don't believe change is something that it's either they don't believe it's attainable or they don't even see it. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who is less commitment focused and more to get what they want. They can squander their time and money. They don't, value the experience that they're having with the person. It's kind of like that momentary energy where we get what we want, and they can be a little bit more calculated about it. They can be a little bit more conniving and manipulative. This one can be too, but it's in a way that is, I don't know, I almost want to say less, like this one just goes for the moment and they do what the fuck they want to. This one is more calculated. This is like kind of thinking about how they're going to go about it, kind of thinking about how it's like a plotter, the kind of plot. That's the energy there. Now, the Nine of Cups in the recent past, you have the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands talks about conflict, difficulties communicating, fighting that may have caused frustration in your relationship, a dissolve of this, thing that we once felt we may have enjoyed or appreciated in our experience with this person, and now it's just chaos. One person here, again, fire energy, lots of fire energy. One person here standing, they have to be the one heard. Everybody else must sit down. You must do what I say. I am above you. That type of energy, and that can eat away at somebody's feelings. And sometimes that can cause people to eat their feelings, drink their feelings, snort their feelings. The Magician in reverse for the present energy, you have the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords talks about not being stuck in our head anymore about a situation. It can talk about stalemates kind of alleviating, some movement coming forth, not being so trapped in the mindset of a particular thing happening. It just kind of allows whatever is to happen, and you can't really control it, but you also take the brake off. You allow things to happen and move, whether that be continuing a situation with somebody, and it feels like somebody might want to try that, but in the end, it doesn't feel like that is something that's sustainable. But here's where we are opening our mind to the potential of it. I just want to say be careful, because we're opening our mind to the potential of an experience with somebody who is very emotionally manipulative. They're an opportunist in kind of the worst possible way. So if you are dealing with somebody that you feel is that already, be conscious of that, okay? The Four of Cups in reverse, you have Strength in reverse. So Strength in reverse, Leo energy, again, a lot of fire energy in this reading. Whomever you're dealing with could very well be a fire sign or heavily prominent in their chart. Now, it's almost as if if you're going into a situation, I want you to not be coerced, okay? Do things of your own volition. Don't be coerced. This is somebody who would coerce you. They're manipulative. Here, it's like we've kind of lost our ability to recognize certain things with the Strength in reverse. It's almost like a card of impatience. It's a card of rushing in without thinking, getting involved with things that are going to leave us dangling. There's no true foundation on them, even though we think that we're going into a new beginning. There's no true foundation to it. Okay, because again, that Four of Cups does talk about trying to return to something or accepting an offer, okay? Upright, he's pouring out the cup. In reverse, I guess it would be dripping back into the cup, but it's essentially accepting the potential for something. But again, I want to make sure that you are at least aware enough to recognize where this might not be in your best interest. Please use your best judgment and your best, intuition in this situation, and that will see you through. But also in a certain way, it feels like somebody kind of has to go through this process. So the Knight of Wands, you have the King of Cups. So water sign energy, you have 2 Cups cards here, the 4 of Cups in reverse and the 9 of Cups. Now you have the King of Cups with this Knight of Wands. So it's interesting that this comes up here because the King of Cups, this could be you, Libra. The King of Cups, if you're looking here, he is pouring out the cup. And the King of Cups trumps this 4 of Cups. It trumps the 9 of Cups, you know. What it does is the king is somebody who is compassionate. He's somebody that understands people sometimes for their emotions where they themselves may not see how they are operating or acting or how they do things in the long term, like the grand scheme of things. Like the King of Cups views from a different space. It's more of a heart space. It's sometimes more of a connected space. Sometimes he doesn't really mention what he sees. Sometimes he doesn't really, he's not often, he can have a difficult time expressing his emotions too, which may have been the situation with you here. But I want you to look here in these 2 cards. The King of Cups is looking straight down at this Knight of Wands, and he's pouring out the cup. You know, this is somebody who recognizes somebody else for who they are. It's somebody who looks at somebody and maybe they recognize, they see them through a different understanding, through a lens of compassion. Sometimes people, I mean, the Emperor in reverse, the Queen of Wands in reverse, you know, the Magician in reverse, that sounds like somebody who has some severe problems. That sounds like somebody who has problems in themselves. You know, it's not the world, it's not anybody else's fault, it's themselves. And sometimes people can be blind to that, yet they spew their anger and frustration and hatred out on other people, and it causes so many problems. It causes us to go within, you know. And here I feel that we're looking at this with a lens of clarity, but also a heartfelt clarity, you know. For what's coming toward you, the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, you have the 5 of Swords. So that's not really surprising. You know, here it's like we're letting something go and we're open to the potential, but then again, we have to look through this lens of compassion, look at the person, what are they truly offering, what's their track record, you know, and here it is. It's the 5 of Swords. So it's basically somebody who is manipulative. They play a fair amount of mind games. They are out of control with themselves. What's that saying? They win the battle, but not the war. That somebody who bickers all the time. It's somebody who can have incredible depression, intense self-sabotatory behavior. Now, this can also talk about just letting that person go. Something that you may have held on to. Here we have this Death card here, okay? This is literally coming in to rake it clean, to be done with it, okay? Here, we're releasing it. It's good. Release this type of energy. This isn't something that you want to maintain for a long time. Like, it sounds like this, whatever you've been dealing with, feels like you've dealt with this situation for long enough, okay? So, in Hopes, Fears, Worries, Concerns, we have the Fool, and you have the Page of Swords. So again, this energy, the Page of Swords is about communication. With the Magician, the Emperor in reverse, and the Queen of Wands in reverse for this person, and Strength in reverse actually here as well, presented, and Knight of Pentacles in reverse, Knight of Wands in reverse, like 5 of Swords and 5 of Swords upright. You have an energy here where somebody does not communicate well. They don't communicate effectively. They communicate from a very immature position. It's somebody who is not easily swayed because they think that their way is correct. My way or the highway type of energy. That's very difficult to create a new beginning with, okay? And here it's almost as if we're turning our back to them, you know? And I do want to mention too, this isn't just about spying and, you know, it can also be about very quick, blunt communication. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you've really evaluated from a situation, and you say, you know what, I thought I really wanted to do this and I'm not seeing any change. Or if you go back into it and you start to see like this terrible communication or just frustrating energy, it may be time to have a very blunt, frank conversation with somebody that brings down the Tower. So, for the Tower, you have death. So, this is an ending, okay? Tower, death, ending, kaput. Which is great because you do have this Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. This talks about new beginnings. It talks about having, breathing a breath of fresh air towards something new, finding passion in a newfound situation. It also talks about moving forward towards something that you've never experienced before. Life can feel like that when you're leaving a situation. It's almost as if you have a new lease on life, a new understanding of your perspective within how you've experienced something before, so I would say this is good. This is good. The Death card and the Tower, excellent energy. This is really a necessity to have this come down, okay? A necessity to have this come down. Could be dealing with a Scorpio too, don't have to be. Scorpio presented there twice, but yeah, finality. And it's good, Some of you may be wanting to go and try and give this another try. Some of you are just like, eh. And for those of you that do give it another try, honestly, my gut feeling is like, nothing's changed here. That's what it feels like. Nothing's changed here. And so the overall energy of this is to release it and let it go and give yourself the opportunity for something new. A baby step that ends up being pretty big. Now, let's go ahead and get into the Oracle cards. I have the Demon deck. I was kind of really hesitant to use this deck just because I know a lot of people are very worried about demons and the devil and this and that. It's information, I'm not summoning Satan here. This is just information. Show me for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Libra. Yeah, I've had this deck for a long time and I never use it just because of that. Show me for Libra. Libra. You have two cards popping out. So Maikale and Nikar. All right, let's read them both. So, Maikale, focus on opening yourself to greater power and reputation. Sure. Move forth in new directions. Oh, this is underneath this Ace of Wands, the Four of Swords. So healing after a situation, but we do so with the idea that we are creating new steps in our lives, new potential. And underneath the Four of Swords and the Ace of Wands, this is what we have. The Two of Cups in reverse here, letting go of a bond that has been very difficult to let go of. It's something that, we've been connected to for a very long time or very deeply, and we have to let it go. Underneath that, we have the Five of Cups in reverse. So releasing bondage, releasing frustration, releasing regret, and going towards life in a direction that makes sense for us. But doing so after we've had some fair amount of time to take for ourselves and really get our hearts correct and our minds correct after this. This doesn't feel like an easy energy to deal with or have dealt with. Nikar. It's funny. In the book, Maikale and Nikar are the page next to each other. So Nikar. Let's see what Nikar has to say. Focus on taking necessary precautions and respecting powerful outside influences. I don't know how that necessarily, equates to you. That may be in the direction that you need to go, just changing things up. I don't know if that made sense to you. Sure, why not? I'm going to also do a Nocturna Oracle. Some of the messages are minimal. Some of the messages are for a specific person, and sometimes they just don't even resonate. And I'm not going to try and force it to resonate. It didn't necessarily resonate for me. This reading resonates for me, but that, yeah. Let's see what the Nocturna has to say. Nocturna. Show me for Libra. Come on. So you have 2 again. 2 cards popping out. So you have coral snake and shark. All right, so let's read coral snake first, and then we will get to shark. Coral snake. Warning, avoidance. Red and black, friend of Jack. Red and yellow, kills a fellow. The bright colors of the coral snake indicate danger. It is one of the most venomous snakes found in North America. The coral snake teaches us that sometimes confrontations are unnecessary and some should be outright avoided. When it comes to bad outcomes, an ounce of prevention is better than a cure. Do not ignore clear warning signs. They exist for a reason. Red and yellow kills the fellow. Shark. Shark. Fearlessness, confidence, drive, authority. As a scuba diver, I have seen many sharks in my lifetime, and every time one appears, it has a very commanding presence. To pull this card may mean that there is an opportunity that you need to take hold of. Always swimming, always moving forward, the shark reminds us to be active in life, not passive. Be fearless in getting what you want in life, and don't second guess yourself. Remember, however, to not bite off more than you can chew. Okay, I think this makes sense for sure. Yeah, that feels good to me. I mean, with the shark card, persevere new things. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Definitely try to avoid this situation. It just seems like it's not healthy. Another reason why I also did the demon cards. I want to test them out. I want to see if they're resonant with my readings. Some of them have been and some of them have not. I find that the Nocturna deck actually is far more resonant than this one. So you get to be privy to that information too, where I'm trying to figure it out how these intertwine with the readings, and some of them do, some of them don't. I may end up leaving these out just because they may not resonate regularly, as I've done with a lot of the oracle decks that I have, just because as well-meaning as they are, they suck. So anyhow, Libra, this is the end of the reading. And yeah, my name is Isel. I'm on YouTube as the Altruistic Mystic. If you found that this reading was helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you choose to donate, there's a link in the description box below. For those of you that have donated, I greatly appreciate it. I value that. I really do. It's very important for me. And I appreciate your consideration and time and effort in doing so. And I will be back in a couple weeks for the midpoint June reading of 2019. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day, night, whatever. Take care. Bye-bye.